Hey guys, Redbeard here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about 8 items that I never leave at home when heading out on a backpacking trip. These items are more, I would say, accessory items, so they're not going to be things like backpacks or sleeping bags or tents, but more smaller items. That doesn't mean that they're not necessary items. In fact, some of them you pretty much have to have if you want to head out in the forest for an extended period of time. Most of these items I did bring on my longer hikes on the Appalachian Trail and on the Pacific Crest Trail. So there's 8 items. Let's get started. So for me, I like to cook on the trail. A lot of people are kind of moving away from cooking on trail and they're going no cook, but I really like that nice warm meal at night. So I never leave home without a nice small ultralight stove. This one is my personal favorite, and I've been through a few different types of stoves. This one is made by a company called Soto. This is the Soto OD1 regulator stove. Checking in at only 2.6 ounces, you'll hardly even know that it's in your pack. And because it has a regulator on here, it performs well in cold temperatures and also at elevation. Some other stoves that I had used that were about the same size and weight did not perform well when I would get in temperatures 20 degrees or colder, sometimes also at elevation. So I did a bit of research and I found this Soto stove, and it has never failed me in the mountains. So that's a plus. Again, 2.6 ounces, it's very, very tough to beat the weight of this stove. It collapses down very small as well. It has, unlike some of the other stoves, you can see here the arms create a flat surface, so when you sit your pot on here, there's more friction created, thus less of a chance that your pot will knock over. Some of the other stoves, the arms here are at a slant or a tilt, so they're barely touching your pot. So that's something that I really like about this stove. And again, the performance of it, I've used this stove for over 5,000 miles in the last few years. And again, it's never failed me. So definitely I never leave home without my Soto stove. And again, even if I'm not gonna cook, just carrying something that weighs 2.6 ounces plus the fuel. Of course, if you're only going out for a couple days, you can get the smallest fuel canister possible, and they only weigh a few ounces, maybe 6 ounces or so. However, I never leave home without my stove. Okay, so number 2, this item also is in my hands right now, so it's very small, and like the other item, very lightweight. If you can't tell, I really like ultralight items if I can, so I always recommend trying to go lighter weight if you can. Save a few grams here and there. It all adds up at the end of the day. Number 2, I never leave home without my headlamp, and this is the headlamp that I am currently using. This is made by Petzl, and it's called the Petzl E-Light. I used to carry bigger headlamps. They still didn't weigh that much. Headlamps are pretty lightweight, the majority of them at least. But I used to carry ones that were maybe more like 4 to 5 ounces in weight, and they were much, much brighter. But I found that I really didn't need that strobe light at night. I really don't turn these on very often. Most of the time just inside of my tent, and this one had the perfect amount of light for what I was looking for, and it weighs 9/10 of an ounce, so less than 1 ounce, only a couple grams. And it's also very affordable, around $19 or $20. I'm going to put the links to all of these products in my description below. Once I started using this, I haven't switched back to more traditional, bigger headlamps, and I probably won't. My only complaint with this, it does, you can see, just very lightweight string. That's not my complaint. It does hold fine to my head. Sometimes I put it on my wrist as well. But the one thing with this is because you can see it's so small, if you just throw this in your backpack, it could take you an hour to find it when you need it, especially in the dark. So put it somewhere where you can always locate it quickly. If you're a big night hiker, you probably wouldn't want to go with this headlamp. For me, it's still enough light to hike at night with, but if you do consistent night hiking, I'd probably go with something brighter. But if you're looking for a headlamp that's light and that you're only going to really use around camp, I can't recommend the Petzl E-Light enough. Again, less than 1 ounce and very affordable as well. So for number 3, I always like to travel light, but I also like comfort when I'm out in the mountains. So this is another item I never leave home without. This is my Thermarest Z Seat. This is a great little item that I didn't pick up until I was about 400, 500 miles into the AT. I saw some other people using a seat pad and kind of thought it was overkill and that I didn't really need it. But checking in at only 2 ounces, I couldn't believe the weight, only 2 ounces, I figured why not give it a try. Once I started using it, again, this is something I've never left at home since. Thousands and thousands of miles of backpacking since then. So you can see it collapses down very small. It's perfect, especially when it's been raining and everything's wet, but you still want to stop and sit down for lunch and maybe there's not shelters. So you're just sitting down on the wet ground, or you could always use your rain pants or something like that. But this just allows you to lay this thing out flat and sit right down on the wet ground and not get wet. And also it does actually have a substantial amount of padding and warmth as well. So if the ground's a little cold too, it does keep you a little bit warm sitting down on the ground. Again, this is completely a luxury item. You don't need this, obviously, to go out into the mountains, but I don't hike without it, and I absolutely love it. And they're very, very cheap as well. Again, I'll put a link down below in the description. Okay, so the 4th item is in my hand, so you can tell it's another small item. And this is something that I personally never leave home without, and that's just because I want to capture everything that I'm doing out in the mountains. Mostly, when I originally started shooting YouTube videos, I was more so doing it for friends and family, and then just also for my own personal memories of some of the great hikes that I was going on. But it transitioned to something a little bit more than that. A great camera for me is always something that's, again, lightweight and small, and something that I can easily reach and get to quickly when on the trail and hiking, when I want to pull the camera out real fast and film something that I might see, maybe wildlife or who knows what you might come across in the mountains. So for me, I always go with the Sony action camera, and that's also what I'm filming this video with. So the Sony action camera weighs only 4.1 ounces. That's with the battery included, and to me it's hard to beat this camera. I have had no issues on trail with the camera. As you can see here, it does not have any casing on it, and it's not 100% waterproof, but it will be fine for all your hiking needs. You can film in the rain with this. It's completely splash proof, so you don't have to worry about it getting ruined or something like that while you're filming and using it in the wilderness. Another great thing about this particular camera compared to the GoPro is it has a tripod mount on the bottom right there, so you don't need to put it in any type of case to put this on a tripod mount and start filming it with it. So that's something I very much like. It also does a great job of picking up audio. In this video right now that I'm recording with my Sony action camera, I'm not using any type of external mic. To me, I think that's very important when you're trying to travel light on the trail, but you still want to get pretty good sound quality. It's got a mic on the front here, so when you're shooting more in selfie mode, it's going to pick it up well, and it also has a mic towards the rear of the camera as well, so you're always going to be able to capture the sound. Again, 4.1 ounces is really, really tough to beat, and most of the time you can find this for cheaper than the GoPro version, and the newest version, the one that I'm filming with right now, shoots in 4K as well, so you're really going to get high quality video footage from the trail at a very light weight. Okay, so number 5, if you're going to start bringing some camera equipment like I do on trail, if you're going to be out there for an extended period of time, so weeks on end, or even just 7 days, and you want to make sure that your devices stay charged. For me, I'm carrying a couple cameras, one for photos, one for video. I always make sure to bring an anchor device. Now this one is quite large and substantial. You don't necessarily need one this big, but only $40 for something like this. I think this one's around 21,000 mAh. You're going to be able to charge for a week, weeks on end, if you're only charging maybe, a small camera like that, or say your cell phone. This one does weigh about 12 ounces, so it's heavier, but again, it's something that for me is pretty necessary. This particular one at 21,000 mAh does take quite a bit of time to charge. So the new versions with the double inputs for charging allows you to charge it almost twice as fast, so I really recommend that. The prices are still low. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. So again, if you're going to be out there and you really want to capture a lot of footage and you're going to be using a lot of battery life, I would highly recommend bringing an anchor device with you. You can't go wrong with it. They're awesome. Okay guys, so number 6, obviously if I'm bringing a camp stove with me into the mountains, I'm probably going to need a good pot or cook set to use that stove with. So for me, you can't go wrong with the Snow Peak Mini Solo. So the Snow Peak set here does come with 2 different pots. One is more of I use it more for drinking coffee, but it does have measuring lines on the interior and the exterior. And sometimes I bring only this if I'm only going to be cooking smaller items from the trail where I might need to boil water. So I can bring just this little cup and be fine on the trail for only an ounce or two. Again, the total weight for this is 5.5 ounces, so it's very, very light. It has a little top here. For longer hikes though, what I'll do oftentimes is just leave the small cup behind at home and just bring this. So you're talking at that point 3.5, 4 ounces for a substantial size pot. For all the details on the volumes of the pots, just click the link below. The one thing with the titanium that I always recommend is you want to make sure you don't cook too hot with something like this, because you could have the possibility of whatever you're cooking, it could stick to the interior of the pot and require a little bit more time to clean the pot. Titanium pots are a little bit more expensive, but for the weight of these pots, you really can't beat it. Again, 5.5 ounces for this entire set, and less if you decide to just leave one at home and bring the others. A nice lightweight titanium cook set is important for me, and I never leave home without it. Can't recommend the Snow Peak one enough as well. So number 7, this is an item that I wear every single day hiking except for when it's raining, and I've tried many different variations of this product from different companies, and I have found the one pair of sunglasses that I love more than any other. They are the best when it comes to not fogging up while you're hiking. That was my biggest issue with a lot of the sunglasses that I wore. And also, they have a lifetime warranty, which I love. And also, they're much cheaper than some other brands of sunglasses out there, but they're also very well made and polarized. These are the sunglasses that I use on every one of my hikes. They are made by Native, and these are called the Native Linville sunglasses. So you can see here that they're just, they're not full frame sunglasses, so the bottom allows for great airflow on your face, so you're not going to have issues with them fogging. This has kind of a brown tinted lens. They come in many different colors and many different shades for colors for your lenses here. So you have many options, but they are specifically designed for hikers. They actually say that and talk about that on their website. So I really like these sunglasses, and they're very comfortable on my face. They have a nice rubber here for your nose, rubber on the side, so they grip really well. Another thing that I really like about these sunglasses is that they're not too tight when I'm wearing them. So a lot of times the sunglasses start to give me a slight headache because they grip so tight to your head. I've never had a problem with these sunglasses hiking hours on end. I wore these on the Pacific Crest Trail every single day on that trail because it was super open and very bright. So I cannot recommend these sunglasses enough. Again, lifetime warranty with Native. Also, the lenses are interchangeable. If you break a lens or you have an issue, they get too scratched up, you can always just replace the lenses. So they have venting along the top here, so just a ton of airflow. You're never really going to deal with these things fogging up on you. And again, they're less than $100. I actually found a pair of them at one time. Matt and I from Z-Packs were just surfing the web, and we found a pair for about $30. Actually, it might have been more like $25. They were on sale, and it was this color, the wood color, which is why I switched to this color, because they were so cheap. So you can always find good prices on Amazon. I'm going to put the cheapest option right now that I can find on Amazon in the description below. Okay guys, so that gets to my last product that I never leave at home on any of my hikes. For me, I think it's very important to have a good watch when you're on the trail, and I've been using the same watch for the last 4 or 5 years now, and I first used it on my AT through hike and then also on my PCT hike and on every hike since. So for me, I always bring my Casio ProTrek 3000 watch. So some of the things that I really like about this watch, this is an older model, so they do have more updated models available. This one, however, you could probably get for even better prices now. One of the reasons I went with this type of watch instead of a heavier like GPS type watch was it was pretty simple. This is a solar powered watch, so I didn't want to have another item in my pack that I was having to charge when I got into town. So that's why I didn't go with like a Garmin or something like that. I went with this. Also, this is much cheaper than those types of watches, so it's always charged with the solar panels on the front here. And it still provides pretty much all the same information that you would get from a GPS watch. besides obviously the GPS capabilities, but I didn't really need that. What I was looking for was a watch that I could check my elevation. You can do that with this. That I could check the temperature. You can do that with this. However, you do need to take it off of your wrist, otherwise it will just give you pretty much the temperature of your body. But sometimes I attach it to like a shoulder strap when I'm hiking, or I oftentimes will take it off when I'm going to sleep and lay it next to me so that I can have an idea as to how cold it got that night at my tent. So elevation, temperature change, it does have a barometer on here as well. A lot of great features to this watch at a much more affordable price than getting a GPS watch or an Apple Watch or something like that. So if you're just looking for elevation change and temperature and you want a solar powered watch that will pretty much always work and never run out of battery life, I can't recommend the ProCheck 3000 enough. Again, I've been using it for 5,000-6,000 miles of use. I love it. I wear it every day and it's performed great for me. So guys, that does it. Those are just 8 essential items, smaller items that I always bring with me on trail. So hopefully you found something here that you didn't know about before that you can throw into your gear list, into your pack, and maybe bring your base weight down a little bit and also just provide you with a bit more comfort next time you head out to the mountains. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you don't already, subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of information out there for new hikers or people interested in long distance hiking, and also a lot of videos from different hikes that I've done. Again, using one of my favorite items here, the Sony action camera, to film all those hikes. So guys, I hope this video has been informative. I hope you have a great hike the next time you hit the mountains. Like always, happy hiking.